For someone who's like considering a SEO strategy, like what are some risks or drawbacks you could face if you decide to I don't need to deal with SEO right now, or that sort of scenario?
Oh, if you want to cut corners?
Yeah.
If you want to do some shady things to try and rank higher, well, you could, get the hammer brought down on you by Google for that. One of the things that Google can do to you is if they see you doing something like, I don't know, buying a bunch of links that are irrelevant, doing something that's against their guidelines, they can do something like give you an unnatural link penalty. I've seen that maybe once in my actual career happen to someone, and it was for like a very specific reason. They didn't realize they'd hired a news distribution service to put out some of their articles around the web, and they had, for instance, one news article was on like 1,000 different websites, and it was the same link pointing back to them with the same anchor text. Google caught that and saw a pattern of behavior and put an unnatural inbound link penalty on them, which means like your rankings immediately tank. You're not going to be visible on Google for the things you really need to be.
So that's like being put in the spam folder at that point.
Yeah, it's Google jail, I guess.
Google jail.
And it takes a while to dig out of that because you have to show good faith that it was either by accident or it was an honest mistake, or you're at least some form of contrition and making steps to fix that. And that can take a long time. I think in the instance that I dealt with, we noticed the problem. I brought in an SEO expert on the matter. This is a wonderful woman, Marie Haynes. She helped guide the whole link remediation process for getting through that penalty. So I think that process took about 4 months or so, which was pretty quick.
I can't believe that's like the fast version is 4 months.
Yeah, I've seen it take for other sites things anywhere from like 8 months to a year.
That's
and
crazy.
You have to go through multiple rounds of resubmitting to Google.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how do you prove that making a mistake was a mistake? Like, how do you prove that bad SEO was an accident?
I believe there was a submission process, and we pinpointed like, here's the links that we captured. Here's what we're doing to correct that.
It feels like something you would learn from pretty quickly.
I don't think that client ever did that again.
Yeah.
You're talking about backlinks that they paid for a service with, and when you're doing some basic research on SEO, it says you don't want to purchase backlinks, and it's really easy from a outsider perspective to be confused at what that is between sponsored sort of content. I know my mom constantly falls for these blogs she's sending me where it's clearly just a listicle of people who paid to have be on somebody else's blog and have a short 2-sentence article write up about them. Is there a line between that and these bad backlinks, or is that even a solution that came out of the other type of backlinks being put down and penalized? What's going on there?
When you're looking at links as a signal of kind of that vote of confidence thing, you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, just because by nature most links are going to be unnatural. Think about how you would link out to content if you're trying to share it out. If you're writing a blog, you're going to link out to something you're referencing. Maybe you see that in the news all the time. If you're referencing something that happened that was covered by a previous article, you might link out to that, with hypertext. But a lot of times linking is very deliberate. So for Google, it's hard to draw that line. So there's things that they've provided to help you indicate that something shouldn't be counted in that respect. One is a no follow tag that says, we have a reason for this link. Don't use this link as context for ranking purposes, though. So there are some guardrails that are put in place.
Thanks for spending time with us. Learn more about BrainDo and our marketing services on our website, www.brain.do. If you'd like to see more from us, consider subscribing or giving us a follow. We can be found at brain.do on Instagram and TikTok, and BrainDo on LinkedIn. If you learned something helpful from this episode, please consider leaving a review. See you next time at the Roundtable.